Global War 36 enthusiast here with Operation 20 Corps, turn 8.5, Commonwealth. It is January 1945. The Commonwealth has 2 tech rolls. First, I tried for advanced artillery at a 7 or higher. PB generated a 4, so I failed. Second, I tried for improved factories at a 7 or higher. PB generated a 1, so I failed. Purchases. Great Britain has 39 IPP to spend. I will purchase 1 militia for 2, 4 infantry for 12, that's 14, 1 anti-aircraft artillery for 4, that's 18, 1 fighter for 10, that's 28. I'll begin construction of an air base in Upper Egypt for 3, that's 31. 1 rail in Sudan on the border of Obangi for 2, that's 33. 1 rail in Abyssinia on the border of Tanganyika for 4, that's 37. And then I'll repair the 2 points of damage to the rail lines for 2, that's 39. FEC has 16 IPP to spend, 1 infantry for 3, 2 Gurkhas for 8, that's 11, and I'll begin construction of a fortification in Benares on the border of Punjab for 5, that brings me to 16. Anzac has 9 IPP to spend, 1 airborne infantry for 3, and then I'll save 6 IPP. Combat movement. From British Malaya, 1 air transport will pick up 1 airborne infantry from Siam. It'll fly to Siam, pick up this airborne infantry, and then fly over to Hainan. So Cochin China will be number 2. Number 3 will be P-41. 4 will be Hainan. Capture that. It's a British airborne infantry, so that makes Hainan British. And then the air transport will land back in British Malaya. So that will put Great Britain up to 36 and Japan down to 34. Next, 1 fighter from British Malaya will fly to Borneo. Whoops, that's not on camera. Sorry about that. 1 fighter flies from British Malaya to Borneo. Another fighter flies 1-2 out to this lone naval transport in P-42, destroys it, and then goes back to British Malaya. And then the 3rd fighter from British Malaya will fly 1 to P-50, 2 to P-59, 3 to P-60, and engage that destroyer. It's going to land back in British Malaya. Also from P-50, this submarine will come over to join in the fray with the destroyer. And from P-64, 1 torpedo boat destroyer will move 1 to P-63, 2 to P-61, and then 3 into P-60 to join in the battle versus the 1 destroyer. So it'll be those 3 units versus that 1 destroyer. Okay, also from P-64, 1 British naval transport will pick up 1 infantry from Queensland. It's an Anzac infantry. And 1, let me double check, what was I going to pick up? FEC or no? I know. Had to pick up a British infantry, right? I need it to be British because I'm going to go over and attack Borneo, and I need a British infantry to survive. So let me double check on this. Let's see. From 64, picks up 1 British infantry from New Guinea. Oh, I'm so sorry, you guys. It doesn't pick up this guy from Queensland. This guy stays in Queensland. It picks up 1 British infantry from New Guinea. It moves over to P-63 and then moves over to P-61. And it picks up this Anzac infantry from Western Australia. Let me chip this out, get out of British infantry. Ugh. Should have been a little bit better prepared, but complicated turn. Okay, so we have 1 British infantry, 1 Anzac infantry. It's moved 2 spaces. It'll move a 3rd space into P-59 and then I'll drop off these two guys in Borneo. So the fighter and these two infantry will be attacking the Marine in Borneo. All right. Let's see. What else do we have? We got the air transport. We've got the attack into Borneo. Okay, from C-Zone P64, I've got a light carrier, a fighter, 2 battleships, a battle cruiser, Anzac light cruiser, British light cruiser, 3 British destroyers, and a naval transport. They will pick up the 1 infantry from Queensland, the Anzac infantry from Queensland, and I think I'm picking up the... God, I'm just really not doing a good job here. I have to bring a British guy for sure. So 1 other British infantry from New Guinea, then moving up to P53 and dropping off these 2 guys in New Britain. The fighter will fly in there, and I'll bombard with the 2 battleships and the battle cruiser. I know I've got 3 bombardments there, but that's because I've got another move here, which is this Anzac naval transport is going to pick up 2 Anzac infantry from British Malaya, and then move 1, 2, 3 over to P53 and drop off the 2 Anzac. So I'll be hitting that with 3 Anzac infantry, 1 British infantry, and a fighter, and then the 3 bombardments. Let's chip that out. So this is what we've got hitting New Britain. And I believe that's all my combats, but let me double check, make sure there's not anything I'm missing. I've got the attack into New Britain. I've got the attack into... Oh, I do have one more attack. And that is down here in Sydney. An air transport is going to pick up an airborne infantry. It'll fly 1 to P72, 2 to P73, 3 to P65, 4 to P54, 5 to the Solomon Islands, and just try an attack there, about 1 airborne infantry against the militia. It's jungle terrain or normal terrain, so it's not going to affect that. So I've flown 5. I've got a range of 3 left. I'll go... is that right? Yeah, I've got a range of 8 with this guy. So he'll fly... Let me double check that, because I thought I had a range of 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, Queensland is where I'm going to land that air transport. Okay, good thing I double checked about any other combat that I had. Let's roll some dice. Okay, so why don't we do Borneo. Borneo's jungle. I've got 2 infantry at 2 and then 1 fighter at 6. So 2 infantry at 2. Nope, and 1 fighter at 6. Great, that's what I was hoping. And he's got, is it a Marine? He's got a Marine at 4. Nope, okay, so that is captured by the British because it has an Anzac infantry and a British infantry. So that goes to Britain. And then the fighter there will go back to British Malaya. That's worth 2. So that's 2 up for Britain to 38 and 2 down for Japan to 32. Okay. Let's go to the battle against the Japanese destroyer in C-Zone P60. So I've got a torpedo boat destroyer at 2, and almost, and a submarine at 3 hit, okay? And then he's got the destroyer at 4, almost. Okay, so that kills the Japanese destroyer in P60. That fighter goes back to British Malaya. All right, let's see. Now we've got, I think, New Britain, which is also jungle. Everything's jungle this turn. New Britain has 3 infantry and 1 marine. Is that right? Or did I say 3 infantry? No, it's 4 infantry. Right. Okay, so 4 at 2. Got the hit. Oh, I need 2 hits, don't I? Because he's got an infantry and a militia, or a marine and a militia. So 1 at 6 with my fighter. Hit. And he's got 1 at 2 with his militia. Hit. And 1 at 4 with his marine. Miss. Okay, so I will lose an Anzac infantry in New Britain. Take it with a British infantry and 2 Anzac infantry. I didn't need to bring the British guy in now that I think about it, because no matter what, it's Anzac, and it's not worth any money anyway. So New Britain is captured with 1 British infantry and 2 Anzac infantry. Now the Battle of Luck. So I've got 1 airborne in Solomon Islands at 3. For a first round, it'll be a 3. Oh, got a 4. And 1 defending militia at a 2. Miss. Now it's just 2 battle at 2s. 1 at 2 versus this is me attacking with the airborne at 2. And this is him defending with a 2. Attacking with a 2. Hit. And defending with a 2. Hit. Oh, well, that's totally fair. So Solomon Islands is stripped, but still held by Japan. And that's the end of all my combat movement. So now we'll transition to non-combat movement. Okay, up in London, I'm going to be building 4 infantry and 1 airborne in London. And I'm going to move out 4 infantry and 1 I'm sorry, I said an airborne. 4 infantry and 1 anti-aircraft are getting built in London, and that's exactly what is moving into southern England. 4 infantry and an anti-aircraft artillery are moving into southern England. And then from southern England, 1 attack transport and 1 naval transport are going to leave port to A21 carrying 3 infantry and an anti-aircraft artillery. So the net effect is that 1 more infantry is gained in southern England. And those 2 will be carrying the attack transport, and then naval transport will be carrying down the 3 infantry and anti-aircraft artillery down to sea zone A44, and then they will go in port into Gibraltar. Dropping off the 3 infantry and the anti-aircraft artillery into Gibraltar. Let's see if I can get that in there. All right. Then from Gibraltar, 1 naval transport will leave port to A21. I'm sorry, to A44, and then it will move up to A21 and go in port in southern England. I know that's off camera, but we'll do the swap-a-roo. So there's 2 naval transports in port in southern England, and there's an attack transport and 2 British naval transports in port in Gibraltar. Okay. Let's go back up to southern England. I'm going to have 1 battleship leave port to sea zone A21, and it will move down to sea zone A44 and then go in port in Gibraltar. This torpedo boat destroyer from Gibraltar will leave port to C-Zone M2, and then it will move over to C-Zone M4. All right, so I've just got a torpedo boat destroyer sitting in M4. From Lower Egypt, the Anzac naval transport will leave port to M8. It will move over 2 spaces, M4 to M2, and then it will pick up British infantry and an anti-aircraft artillery and move over to C-Zone M4, drop those 2 off in Malta, and then go in port in Tripoli. Then the naval transport that started off in Tripoli will leave port to M4. It'll move over to M2 and go in port in Gibraltar. Okay. Let's see if I'm missing anything. Oh, yep. From southern England, I'm going to have 1 fighter fly down to Gibraltar, and another fighter fly over to southern England. Put that on camera here. This British fighter came down here to Gibraltar. From Gibraltar, the seaplane will fly 1 to M2, 2 to M4, 3 to M8, 4 to I5, 5 to I4, 6 to land in Italian Somaliland. From C-Zone M8, I have this task force, which is a light carrier with a fighter, a heavy cruiser, a British light cruiser, an Anzac destroyer, a British destroyer, a sub, and coastal sub. They will move from M8 over to M4 and join that torpedo boat destroyer. Okay. From Lower Egypt, I'm going to have 3 infantry and 2 medium armor move to Upper Egypt. From Nubia, I'll have 1 infantry move to Upper Egypt. Let's see. Okay, Italian Somaliland. From Italian Somaliland, I'll have 1 fighter and 1 medium bomber fly to Lower Egypt. From Cape Town, 1 fighter will fly 1 to I1, 2 to I3, 3 to I4, 4 to I5, and then land in Lower Egypt. Tricky to try to squeeze in all these units. Definitely I should be using a task force card if I were smart. Okay, let's go over to Calcutta. From Calcutta, 6 infantry, their FEC infantry, will move to Benares. From Burma, 3 Gurkhas will move to Siam. from British Malaya. 4 FEC infantry will move to Siam. Okay, is that everything for my non-combat? I think that's it. Okay, let's look at placement of units. So Anzac will build in Sydney, will build 1 airborne infantry. Let's just rail 1 infantry from New South Wales over to Western Australia, just to have some flexibility. Okay, so that's all I do there. With Anzac, they collect 6, and then I saved 6, so Anzac will have 12 for next turn. FEC. In Calcutta, I'll build 1 infantry, and in Burma, I'll place my 2 Gurkhas. And then we talked about the fortification being built on the border in Benares, on the border with Punjab. Okay. Let's see. And then Great Britain. Oh, well, let's collect money with FEC. FEC is at 14 plus 2 bonus income, 16 for next turn. All right. Great Britain. In Upper Egypt, I'm beginning construction of an airbase. I've got 2 rails to build. One, let's zoom down to Abyssinia and Tanganyika. 1 is there. And Sudan and Obangi Chari is the other one. That one's only costs 2, but the other one in Abyssinia costs 4. Then I'm paying to repair the 2 points of damage on the 2 rail, the 1 in Sudan, the 1 in Rhodesia, or maybe it's Bukhanaland. Sorry, Bukhanaland. Then we've got, let's see, an F1 fighter will be built in Italian Somaliland. Not sure if that's on camera. Take a peek at that. That's where I put the fighter. And then I'll put 1 militia in Sudan. All right. Yep, I think that's everything. I already said that I put up in London, I put the 4 infantry and the 1 anti-aircraft artillery up there in London. So let's collect income. Great Britain's at 38, plus 5 bonus income is 43 for next turn. All right, Free France's turn. Free France has 10 IPP to spend. I will purchase 2 Foreign Legion for 8 and save 2 IPP. I don't have any combat movement with Free French, but I'm going to move from Upper Egypt. 6 Foreign Legion and an anti-aircraft artillery will move to Nubia. Let's see, how do we want to do this? I guess like this. And then I will rail one anti-aircraft artillery from Cameroon I'll rail it to Nubia. Alrighty. And then in southern Iraq, one Foreign Legion will move to Syria. From British Malaya, one torpedo boat destroyer will leave port to Sea Zone M50 or P50, and then move over to P51, P52, and over to P53, go in port in New Britain. Okay. I think I'm going to move these two Marines over to Dutch New Guinea. And I think I can do that because I haven't rolled any dice for the French, so it wasn't like anything in the French turn affected my decision to make that move. Let's see if there's anything else. Did I do all my non-combat? I did. So now I've got 2 Foreign Legion to place, and I'll put them both in Syria, bringing me up to 4 Foreign Legion there. And collect income. I collect 7 for Free France, plus I saved 2, so I will have 9 for next turn. Okay, disposition of forces. In northern England, 1 militia. In southern England, 4 militia, 4 infantry, 2 anti-aircraft artillery, 3 fighters, a seaplane. In port in southern England, 1 heavy cruiser, 1 coastal defense ship, 1 destroyer. In London, 4 militia, 4 infantry, 1 American airborne infantry, 2 anti-aircraft artillery, 1 American strategic rocket. In Gibraltar, 1 militia, 3 infantry, 2 American infantry, 3 Marines, 1 airborne infantry, 1 medium armor, 2 American advanced artillery, 2 anti-aircraft artillery. In port, 1 battleship, 1 American attack transport, 1 British attack transport, 3 normal British transports. In Sea Zone M4, 1 light carrier with a fighter, 1 heavy cruiser, 1 light cruiser, 1 British destroyer, 1 Anzac destroyer, 1 submarine, 1 torpedo boat destroyer, 1 coastal submarine. In Malta, 1 militia, 2 infantry, 2 anti-aircraft artillery. In Tripoli, an American militia, American infantry, and an Anzac naval transport in port. Now, is it smart for me to be in port there? Probably not. Let's take that guy out of port and keep him in M4 with the rest of the ships that I went over. I think that makes more sense. Or actually, maybe we should put the Anzac... Hold on, sorry about this. Trying to decide what to do. I'm gonna leave him at sea. The Anzac transport's in M4. It's not in port. Okay. In Cyprus, a militia. In Syria, 4 Foreign Legion. In southern Iraq, 2 militia, 6 British infantry, 4 FEC infantry, 3 Free French Foreign Legion, 1 British medium armor, 1 British anti-aircraft artillery. In Lower Egypt, okay, 1 militia, 2 British infantry, 1 1 British Marine, 1 American Airborne Infantry, 1 American Medium Armor, 1 British Anti-Aircraft Artillery, 2 British fighters, 1 French fighter, 1 American fighter, 1 British medium bomber, 1 French medium bomber, 1 American medium bomber, 1 American heavy strategic bomber in Lower Egypt, 4 infantry, 1 Free French infantry, 2 British medium armor, 1 Free French anti-aircraft artillery, partially built airbase in Nubia, 6 Foreign Legion, 2 Free French anti-aircraft artillery. In Sudan, 1 militia. In Cameroon, 1 militia. In Italian Somaliland, 1 fighter, 1 seaplane. In Madagascar, 1 Foreign Legion. In Benares, a partially built fortification and 6 FEC infantry. In Calcutta, 2 militia, 1 FEC infantry, 2 FEC anti-aircraft artillery. In Burma, 2 Gurkhas. In Siam, 4 FEC infantry, 3 Gurkhas. In British Malaya, 1 Anzac infantry, 7 Gurkhas, 1 FEC